today is about, it's really exciting because we have 4 of our alumni here. And it's really about sharing their story and their highlights, and a bit also about their stories about their time with us at the incubator. So it's a perfect, I think, occasion for the audience who are interested about what the incubator is doing and what it means to be part of the program, to get inspired or ask questions. And before we start, I'd like to say hello to Julia from Greenwise, all the way from Russia. Thanks for being with us. To Luke from the Pink Albatross from Spain. Kati from very far away and also from a ridiculous time zone. Thank you for being with us. And last but not least, Iván from our most recent cohort from the start, Asanté. It's great to have you. Okay, and I think before we get started with the talk and the chat, I'll just spend a few minutes on introducing the incubator and the program so that all of you out there know what we're offering and maybe get to know us a bit more. So the incubator, the ProVeg Incubator, has been founded 2.5 years ago, end of October 2018. Really back then as the first and leading accelerator program in the world that exclusively focuses on plant-based and cultured food innovations. And our mission straight from the beginning was to find and identify and then support those founders where we would be believing that they would be revolutionizing the food system and how we eat in the future. And we do this twice a year through cohorts. So we accept around 6 to 10 startups per cohort, and we do this twice a year in a 12-week program. And we help them with a tailor-made curriculum. We work very intensely with each of them together on achieving their goals and fast-tracking their progress to market. We host networking events because we can really tap into our network from ProVeg International, which is the mother organization of ProVeg. And of course, we have the expertise, since like plant-based and alternative proteins is our bread and butter, basically. And on top of this, we have also funding. So we support our startups with our own funding as well. And I think over the last 2.5 years, we really succeeded in building a community, which is why I'm super happy also to have you all with us today. And so I would say what we can do first is give a quick introduction to my guest. Maybe Kati, do you wanna start? Kati, you're still muted. 1 second. Classic.
Good morning. Good morning from New Zealand. It's almost 5. It's actually past 5 in the morning, so it's really fresh here. So I'm a co-founder of Plantcraft. We make deli meats out of green banana, and we have been in the second cohort back in 2019. And since then, we have launched our company in the United States, and we just hit the shelves in Chicago, in South California, and just got listed with some of the great distribution channels in distribution companies like Pot Foods and UNFI. And we're working on Kihei as well in the United States. So it's a pretty exciting time for me. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Kati. Yeah, you look amazing. 5 a.m. I would look very different, I think. And also for all the guests out there, I love your products. I remember still when you were back in the incubator with us and making us pate pieces. It was delicious. So but awesome to hear about your news. That's super exciting. Okay, then maybe let's go to Julia from Greenwise.
Hey guys, hello from Moscow. My name is Julia and I'm the co-founder of Greenwise. We are one of the very first plant-based meat alternative producers from Russia. So we were also part of the second cohort of ProVeg Incubator, and back then we knew nothing about the plant-based sphere at all. We didn't know what a pitch desk is, and right now, we are presented in more than 3,000 stores all over Russia, in more than 100 cities. We export our products to the US, to Israel, to Budapest, to many cities all over Europe. And we call ourselves drivers of Russian food tech, and all of it thanks to ProVeg Incubation Program. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Julia. Okay, then next up, maybe Luke, do you want to go?
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Luke. I'm the co-founder of Pink Albatross Ice Creams. Our company is based in Madrid, Spain, and we formed part of the third cohort of ProVeg in 2019. We launched our business in December of 2018, and we had some good traction in 2019. We had a funding round in early 2020, and that allowed us to reformulate our product, develop new co-packing relationships, and also drop our price so we could be more attractive in the retail or in the supermarket space. This year has started off really strongly. As you can imagine, ice cream is a very seasonal product, so most of the sales are done in 4 or 5 months. And we've made our first entry into supermarkets, so we're listed in around 150 points of sale. In just in Spain in supermarkets, and another 150 points of sale in specialty stores and restaurants approximately. And things are going really well. There's very strong traction. I think this month was our record month of sales. We booked more sales this month than all of last year together. So we're seeing some good traction. Yeah.
That's amazing, Luke. Yeah, I can't wait for the Pink Albatross ice cream to come to Germany.
Soon.
I'm eating ice cream every day. Actually, it's so hot here in Berlin. So yeah, I can imagine that sales. This is a good time for sales. All right, thank you, Luke. Yeah, finally, Iván, thanks for being with us. It hasn't been so long since I've seen you last, but it's good to have you back again.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say. So yeah, I recently graduated from this cohort. And we are a plant-based meat company from Mexico. And we also have a presence in the US. Actually, our headquarters is in the US. And we are also working with mycelium fermentation. And our goal is to eventually replicate the flavors of meat. We are very conscious of the sustainability. We created a life cycle analysis that allows us to justify that every time that somebody buys one of our packs, we save 45 kilograms of CO2. And we're very proud of finding ways of making meat in a more sustainable way. We actually don't use the refrigerated supply chain, for example. And we're very excited about the future with this fermentation and biotechnology paths that we're starting to really accelerate thanks to the support of ProVeg. So it has been a very crazy ride over the last 3 months, and yeah, I think that we are very happy with all the traction and all the improvement in our business model that we were able to do during this period.
Yeah, absolutely. We were super impressed with you too. I remember from like the first meeting until now, 3 months later, it's insane what can happen if you have like so dedicated and smart founders like you guys. So yeah, big heads up. All right, cool. I think what might be interesting is we could start with a little chat round. And yeah, my first question would be like looking back at the last 12 months or 6 months or whatever you think is appropriate. Maybe you can share some bits and pieces like highlights and lowlights, and yeah, get a glimpse into the entrepreneurial life, basically.
Maybe I can start. Happy to
Whoever
start.
wants to start can start, yeah.
So, COVID threw a quite crazy curveball to us, and Plantcraft is a very interesting company in terms of geography, because we were incubated in Germany, our lab, and one of our co-founders is in Hungary. I'm sitting here in New Zealand, and then our target market is the United States. So it's a little bit of an interesting mix, and it was quite challenging, but we were always thinking that that's the future of work, and that we should look at this globe as our market and not just separate countries. And so we really committed to it and started working with the US. But what happens is when you go to a new ground is that you will make mistakes. And we first partnered with, and most important thing first is operations. So you need to be able to produce, you need to be able to test your products and have your local production. So we partnered up with the company, and through no one's fault really, it just didn't work out. So we spent 7 months and a whole lot of money to work with a company that was not a right fit. And so it was really hard to then find someone else. And then we were really lucky that we got recommended a great company. I'm not going to share their name with you because you can't take them from us, but they actually called 1516 Group, and they are amazing, super dedicated. We consider them as team members, and they are basically our boots on the ground for operations. And everything went so much faster. And after 7 months that just gone down the drain, within 3 weeks we found our co-packer that we still work with today, and started working on that grant for our operations. And the reason why I'm saying it is because we always have big plans, and we always have a beautiful timeline and Gantt charts and all of that, and you never know what will happen. And then you will suffer big hits from financial, or sometimes time feels more wasted than money, because it feels like when you have that itch and you want to go and you want to be there already, and you're still delayed for this reason or that reason, that can be really painful for us. But it's something that we have to be ready for and just fight through it, and then a good solution will pop up. And I also think it's important that we made the right decision in the right time, and if something doesn't work, you just have to terminate it and go fast, and don't hold on to something that doesn't serve you. That sounded a little bit spiritual, but it actually works for business as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think seeing from the startups I've worked with also, like, it's one of the most painful and worst things that can happen when you work with someone, and especially supply chain operations. It does work. It happens so many times, right? It's really natural that it happens. It's more a miracle when you find someone that fits perfectly first try, actually. So yeah, but I'm very happy that you fought through it and now you're on the market. That's amazing.
Yeah, let's talk about something positive that is happening right now.
This is positive.
Okay,
yeah.
So it's amazing to see how fast the plant-based and cell-based and the alternative protein space is growing, and how fast it's developing. For example, like, look at us. We're from New Zealand, from Spain, from Mexico, from Russia, and even in Russia, it's a huge boost. And we've witnessed this huge boost, because when we started at the incubator, there were just 4 plant-based meat producers in our country. Now we have around 30. And it's a big growth and a very fast growth for the undeveloped markets, such as the Russian market. And we see that many European producers wanna enter our market, and we see that the demand for this product, it's also growing. And we started as a plant-based meat brand, and now we do also cell-based. We're trying to develop scaffolds for hybrid products, cell-based and plant-based product. It's been a while since I spoke English, so I'm very sorry for the many mistakes that I make. Yeah, I haven't seen you guys in ages. So what I wanted to say, that the biggest highlight of the last 6 years was probably the conference that we, as Greenwise founders, that we held. We founded an association of the alternative food product producers. It's an ecosystem that unites people who are transforming the system of nutrition right now. So we unite plant-based, cell-based producers and developers, marketing agencies, and NGOs to help our market to develop faster and to promote the plant-based and alternative protein products. So we held the very first alternative protein conference in Russia, and it was a huge success. We gathered more than 200 people, and even Albert was there. It was a great presentation about the overview of the European market. We had guys from the GFI. They also made an overview of the American market. So we finally managed to show to the audience that there is a demand for these products, and if we are uniting, we are gonna make this products mainstream. So I'm very proud of this work.
No, it's amazing. They're actually also officially ProVeg Incubator partners. So like,
yes,
you go.
Yeah, so with in partnership with ProVeg, we're gonna launch our own startup incubator for the Russian-speaking countries, not only for Russia, but also for Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Belarus, and other countries who share the same language with us. And we're also officially signed a partnership with V-Label, so we are able to label with the V-Label products in Russian-speaking countries. So also a very, very big deal for us. Finally, we're going to have some real certification and not the fake green leaves on the vegan products.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I mean, you guys, it's like kudos to you and Tim, you're real pioneers, I would say. I remember also back at the incubator when you said, it's like you have to approach this market differently. Plant-based is not known, and see, like, I think you are part of this development, so you can be super proud.
Yeah, thanks for partnership with us.
Okay, then Luke, do you want to go next?
Yes, just taking on from what Kati said about COVID, I think it doesn't need to be said, but COVID did have a profound effect on our business as well. But it had a positive effect because for 2 months, everything came to a shutdown. Our core manufacturing facility closed, so we couldn't manufacture, we couldn't sell. But what that did give us, it gave us a lot of free time to think about the next steps, where we were going to go, how we were going to scale the business, what formulation changes we needed to make to allow for scaling to happen. So we spent a lot of time and energy on non-operational stuff, which is it's very hard to find time for strategic things, right? Because the operational part just kind of sucks your time and energy.
Yeah.
So for us, it was absolutely critical, and I think it was a blessing in disguise, because it allowed us to, as I said earlier, it allowed us to reformulate entirely, find the right co-packer, and really find a production system that could scale. Because prior to that, we were operating really in a facility that didn't allow us to scale. So I think from the supply side, from the operations side, as Kati said, we were ready in 2020, and we were ready to start strong in 2021. But what we found was a retail environment that was very conservative in terms of their appetite for trying new products. And the simple reason was, 2020 had been such a bumper year for them, that their comps, their performance in 2021 was going to be compared versus 2020. So really, they had a lot of pressure in making sure that they got the product selection right, and their appetite for risk was very, very low. So to our disappointment, we didn't get a lot of listings, but that did turn out to be a blessing in disguise, because the first year that you scale, there are a lot of small hiccups here and there that you just can't foresee, and the only way to actually learn about them is to test the system, right? To see where the weak points are and learn from that. So that was another blessing in disguise. And what we're learning now is, when we start 2022, because once again, we're a very seasonal business, so all of our sales are concentrated from March to August. When we start 2022, we know exactly how to tackle it this time around. So, there is a bright spot in all of this difficulty and in all of this challenge that we faced over the last year. And we've been able to get sales data for some of our products. And it's really encouraging to know that our brand, outperforms the leading vegan ice cream brand by a factor of 3. So it gives us, by multiple of 3. So it gives us a lot of arguments and interesting supporting points when we go and talk to retailers, right? So for me, I think it's been a really interesting year and a half, with its ups and downs. But it's food. It takes a long time to get people to change what they eat, what they buy, how they prepare it. So I think there is some degree of conservatism that you need to accept and just acknowledge that things take time. At least this has been our experience.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Thanks for sharing, Luke. And finally, Iván, lowlight for you.
Yeah. Very, very aligned with what the other cohorts panelists have said. I think that COVID has been a very challenging part of our story. In my case, and what we did is that we were creating the company as part-time employees. So we were working for another company. So during COVID, we had to balance the launch in the US, which was very stressful and very challenging. And of course, all our plans came off the table. And also the company for whom I was working was also in a complete chaos. So I think that I'm glad that now I am 100% dedicated to this. And I think that this is an industry. I mean, I come from a variety of industries. I have a background in CPG, in large companies like Unilever, and also a little bit of experience in private equity, real estate, infrastructure, and energy. And my transition into this was completely based on believing on the mission and believing that it is on us. We still have only 3% of the global meat market, and that's ridiculously small given the amount of investment that has come to the industry. I would have expected that the speed of adoption of plant-based meat would have been way faster. But of course, I have very high expectations, and I believe that as we are producing 51 billions of CO2 per year, there's still so much things to do that I think that it's just great that organizations like ProVeg help us to really gather all our all our capabilities and all our ambition and focus it in a specific place so that we can make a higher impact. So in terms of highs, I think that we have also experienced a lot of interest since we have been able to complete our R&D. We believe that this is a nascent industry. At the end, we're not going to grow from 3% just selling soy patties. We believe that we do need to make some leaps in terms of the science that needs to be applied to food in order to make it something that replicates more the experience that the people are used to. And I think that that learning has been filled with lows and highs, but at the end, I think that it has become a very positive one.
Yeah, thank you, Iván. Really interesting talking points, actually. Okay, it was so cool to hear from all of you because, yeah, I mean, Iván, we spent the last month together, but Julia, Luke, and Kati, I think it's amazing, like how COVID impacted you in so many different ways, and despite that you made the best out of it and really like were able to achieve some super impressive things. Yeah, so I think since this is also about the program and sharing the experience, we could, for our audience, I have one question for you, and this is, if you look back on the time with us, can you share like any particular good memory or something that was remarkable or that is still sticking around with you when you think about us at the incubator?
Let me start again. First and foremost, we feel incredibly supported. We feel like there is always a back country just having our backs and supporting us, and that's one of the most important things that a fragile new startup can ever think of. And I know that sometimes, Antje, you might be over it, but we can still email you with questions and, hey, can you link us up with this and that? And it feels really good when, especially for Csaba and myself, my co-founder, Csaba, he comes from a finance background and I come from software development and marketing. I had no clue about food. I had no idea. If I think back, what a rookie little newbie person I was then, I can't even believe that we got this far. But the most important thing for us up till today is the incredible support that the incubator gives us and holds us, and that is one of the most precious and valued things. But going back to the incubator times, I think for us the most important thing was the structure that we received. So of course, every company will have different strengths and different weaknesses, and the whole program was guiding us through a structure where each and every aspect of the business was looked at. And even though some of our areas were really good and even better than it could have been, some of them were really behind, and you helped us, you pointed that out, you gave us support and help, and some really great mentors came in, and I've up till today I'm using so many tricks that I've learned back then. And your incredible network, like that is something to mention. I think ProVeg is just in general is so very well connected in the industry. And sometimes we don't need money. We just need an introduction. We don't need anything else. Just open a door for us. And I think these are the three most important things that we received, and forever grateful.
Thank you, Kati, for your sweet words.
Kati is absolutely right. You've opened so many doors for us. Like me and my co-founder team, we had zero experience in business and in plant-based world, since we're both lawyers. And even though Tim has a little bit of knowledge about the food tech because his father is a food tech pioneer in our country, still when we started our program, we knew really nothing about the alternative protein space. And you introduced us to so many people, to so many companies, and it's been super valuable for us. And now I think this is the first thing, the networking, and the second part is the inspiration that you gave us. You even inspired us to open our own startup incubator in Russia, in a country where no one expects you to do that. So it's been amazing, really.
Nice. I also like to share a bit of memory. Like one thing I really like to think back about is the dinner that we had. So back then we used to have like in-house cohorts. So all the staffs were like with us in Berlin, and we had special weeks when everyone would come together. And yeah, the food was off the charts. There's so much tasting happening, and we made like a really nice dinner. And yeah, there was some sweet memories.
Kati, Antje, do you remember our last party, the karaoke party?
Yeah.
With Chris dancing. Oh my God, it was so amazing. I still have photos and videos, and it's a shame that you do this program online now, because the offline experience was just something else, really.
Yeah,
that
was
agree.
Good fun.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, what sticks in my mind is the camaraderie, getting to know the people, working late together, just spending quality time, debating, discussing, going out, drinking, eating, what have you. Those are the memories that finally you carry with you, right? The rest of the details you kind of forget along the way. So I cherish those. I keep those memories close to heart. And then, another thing that stands out was a lot of the people that assisted my cohort weren't necessarily business people, like you pointed out, Julia. There were people that, they had a specific idea, or they had a specific product, or they were chefs, or, they had some technical background, right? And I remember, like, for me, one thing stands out is the pitch that they made at the beginning of the program, and the end. And I'm sure that applies for us as well, because there's lots of things that we learned, but it was like day and night. It was just like new people, a new product, a new business, a new branding, right? And I think that was really critical for the demo day, right? Because you need to be at your best during demo day. And I think at least the transformations I saw, there were nothing short of remarkable. And for us, one of the main reasons why we also wanted to join, and going back to what Kati and Julia said, was the incredible network that you have. And we were, we went with the intention and expectation of securing finance or securing financing. And that was the outcome that we obtained. And that was, thanks to ProVeg as well, because of your great networks and connections.
Thank you, Luke. And Iván, fresh memories for you, I'm sure. So, but would be curious to hear.
No, I second what Luke said. I think that it's remarkable to see the transformation of everyone. And I think that especially during these times of isolation, we're still in living through COVID, and I think that being an entrepreneur, when you are living in all these events and having all this positive energy, and especially in food, at least in our case, when we were going to tastings or having contact with clients, the instant feedback and just seeing the faces or the wow, I think that's a very positive and energetic feedback that you can have right there. And you see the impact of everything you're doing. You're seeing how a person that didn't know that vegan existed, or why, or the relationship to the sustainability, or the relationship to health. And when you see those faces, you get the reason of why you're doing all this. And during COVID, since we don't have access to those kind of reactions, yes, you have some kind of interactions in social media, but it's nothing compared to live events or to live interaction. And for us, being part of a group of like-minded individuals that are going through the same that you, and also having an immense group of mentors and people with a lot of experience that want to support you and that want you give and that wants to see you thrive, it's just an amazing part of the journey. And to be honest, at the beginning I was a little bit reluctant. We thought that we didn't need it, and I think that was a mistake. I'm really glad that we went ahead with the program, and that and I'm sure that this is going to be a game-changing event for the company.
Yeah, just let me just add something really quickly to what Iván just said. I think that for me, I think the program is like a blueprint of how you should set your business up from A to Z. And everyone comes from a different background, and you may be an expert on B to F, but you haven't even thought about what comes after that, right? And you're so focused just on that, and you forget about all the other letters in the alphabet. And it's absolutely critical. You just have to get everything right. And I think that's the nature of how tough this business is. And I think that's what ProVeg does well. It highlights that, and two, it gives you like a curriculum. It gives you guides, educational material, access to networks, or people that can help you, put some content around those different points that you're not seeing or that you're not an expert at. So just to complement what Iván was saying.
Yeah, true.
Thanks.
I think Antje froze and left us, so
Yeah.
we're by ourselves.
We're ourselves.
Yeah,
Let's look at the questions, because we can see. I'll be Antje and I'll read one out. The first one we received was, is it important to you in potential future funding rounds to have participation from existing food industry players? And what resources or capabilities do food company investors bring to the table that other investors may not?
Good question.
Who wants to say? Luke.
I have an opinion on that. I think without a doubt, if you can have an investor that comes in from the food industry, there's no doubt that it's going to be a superior option versus an investor that doesn't come in from the food industry. They're going to know distribution systems, they're going to know ingredient providers, they're going to know retailers, they're going to know potential partners, be it, co-packers or whatever type of help that you need. They would have done that, or they'd have some knowledge about that, or they'd be able to point you out in the right direction. Versus an average investor that's just looking for returns, the nature of the interaction, the quality of the conversations that you will have will be completely different. So if you have the chance to pick an expert in the food industry who's also an investor versus just an average investor, in my mind, there's no question about it. The industry expert prevails.
Yeah, and I want to complement what you're saying, Luke. I totally agree. I think that mission aligned, not only food, but also mission aligned is really important, because one thing that is for sure is that this industry is really complex. It's way beyond of anyone's imagination of planning, and yes, sometimes you get lucky and you can deliver on everything that you promise, but there are going to be a lot of deviations, and if you are not committed enough for the mission and your investors are not going in that journey with you, it's impossible. It's just it's critical to have the right partners.
Yeah, and if I just may, I think going back to the point you just said, I agree. Mission based is a great add, but I think food based is an absolute must, because if you're going to have a tech investor investing in your company, I think he's just going to end up being frustrated with you, and you're going to end up being frustrated with him, because the expectations are so misaligned. Yes. If their experience is technology moves, or at least let's say like internet as an example, it just moves at a different speed than food does, right? So listings, convincing buyers, aligning your supply chain, getting the co-packer, changing the co-packer, these are all slow moving things. They take time to do it properly. And they have their limitations, and a lot of them are human limitations. So unless the investor understands that, their expectations are going to be completely misaligned.
Yeah, and I think
I agree.
It's super crucial, especially on the emerging markets like Russia, for example. Only food investors, investors with food background, can understand the pace of development of our market, and not to have these crazy expectations, as Luke said. So it's crucial.
Yeah, but let's not discourage people who don't have that sort of investors, because Plantcraft had a tech investor. We have a very old school venture VC investor that invested us in the first round, and they had no idea about food. They are super curious. They could sense that there is something going on in the plant in that industry, and they are backing us and supporting us full throttle. The only problem with that, as you pointed out, that we educate them more than they educate us, which is a little bit of a problem. But they make up for it by support and by allowing for more budget for bringing in outside help to actually guide us with advice. So let's not discourage startups who don't have access to mission-based. I don't think it's critical. I think it's good to have, but for us, we are only now looking at mission-aligned and food-based investors.
Yep, agree.
So whatever money you can get.
Yeah, no, I just thought the context of the question is, between a food investor and investor, and for me, between the two, it would be clear. But yes, if you can get the capital, take it.
Yeah. All right, Antje, I was reading up questions while you went for your beauty break. Next question is, I'm interested to know what were the typical R&D challenges that you guys encountered?
Again, in my country, the most typical R&D challenge is that we have no R&D specialists because we don't have like a specific food institute. So we have absolutely no people who can help us to develop a recipe. And it's been a true challenge, and it took us 2 years to develop our burger patties, and we are just about to launch it. It took us so much time and so much money to develop it in-house, and me and my co-founder, I'm the CMO, he's the CEO, but he's actually doing like different operational, he's responsible for different operational processes. So we have zero background in R&D, and we've been doing it by ourselves. And only the last couple of months, we see that European companies are coming to the Russian market and offering R&D help. So for us, the real struggle was to find an R&D technician.
Thanks, Kati, also for taking over. Apologies that I went missing for a while, but yeah, I'm back now.
So for us, our R&D challenges, we have our own lab, and we have our own food tech team now that is working on our products. For us, it's interesting because everyone's asking us about how do you get the taste right, and it's actually really easy to get the taste right for us. It's the texture that is a real challenge. So we're using powders and flours to make something that is a muscular structure, and without that cellular structure of the muscle cells, it's really hard to create the mouthfeel. So for us, the real challenge was actually the mouthfeel and the texture, and not the taste of the firm products. So Antje, you only know our original products, which are spreadable, the pate, the liverwurst. But our new products, the pepperoni, the slices, the sausages, the hot dogs, they need a bite, they need to be snappy, they need to be chewy. And so those are our challenges. And also we are treading new waters. I think it's probably, Iván, you're the same, that you're working with something that did not exist before. We are working with microbial fermentation, and it's not like we take an existing recipe and we mix it up. It's a real exploration, and I think I can't stress it enough that our biggest challenge is time and patience, because these things take time. Double your R&D time, triple it.
Kati, you don't use extrusion, right?
No. No, we use very conventional technology, so our products can actually be manufactured in a just an average sausage factory. We could basically walk into any sausage factory anywhere in the world and start manufacturing there. So we don't need any capex. However, we need the right materials and the right. It's quite an innovative process to use fermentation the way we do.
If I could add a little bit to that question as well, our approach has been more for R&D. It's been more D and less of R. And sometimes we don't really understand why the things work, but if it works, we'll take it and we'll run with it. The next most difficult thing becomes how, is it replicable every single time you produce it in the same machine? And believe it or not, there's for me it's a bit frustrating because there's this element of randomness that sometimes things work and sometimes they don't. And as far as the conditions are the same, but the outcome is completely different. So for us, the way we've overcome that is by really working on doing. But learning by doing. So doing, gathering feedback, gathering observations, learning, doing again and doing again. And I think the R part is we're definitely interested in because R from research, because if we understand what's going on, then we'll be able to, create something special around that or delve further into that. but then you're entering into a whole other discussion where you're trying to learn why, and the budgets for understanding why are completely different to the budgets of understanding what or getting what. At least that's been our experience.
Something just came to my mind is that the other thing that is really super frustrating, that once your R&D is done and you have a product you're happy with and you want to put it to market, then add at least as much as you want your shelf life to be, because then you have to start your shelf life testing, and that is like watching the paint dry. It's like it's killing us when you have a ready product, but you have to wait for it to be able to put it on market. So that's just a little interesting point that I wanted to add.
Yeah, the way we overcame that is, I know our products are different because we have frozen products. We started off with the shortest shelf life, and over time, so with the first time we launched the product, it was 6 months, and now our shelf life is up to 2 years. Just so we could start, because otherwise, we'd be watching the grass grow and just waiting for the shelf life test to come in.
Yeah. Well, we're bringing products out of nothing, so we can't claim our pate shelf life, which is 210 days right now. We can't claim that shelf life on our pepperoni products because they are completely different products, different formulations. So we have to start it all over.
Yeah, we have the same problem, and we have both frozen goods and also chilled goods. So each type of product has different storage conditions. So it's very hard, and you need to start everything from scratch all over again.
Antje, you didn't tell us that.
Sorry.
It wasn't in the blueprint.
Yeah, you did not enlighten us. Okay.
There's no blueprint. There's always unforeseeable obstacles left and right. Okay, Iván, do you have anything to share, or did you already talk about your R&D challenge?
I'm good.
Okay, so then I think another question is, what stage was your product when you applied at the incubator? That's interesting, yeah. Very different, I think.
So I'll take that. I think that it's important to have products in the market. The pace that the program goes, I think that if you're trying to absorb all the business and all the connections and everything, and also trying to have a product from scratch, I think that it's too much, but perhaps that is because of the nature of the virtual program. I don't know if it was completely different from when it was live. Probably it was different when it was live, because you can have these tastings and you can have this instant feedback and you can really optimize your products. But in our case, if we have done the program without having experience in the market and without having some products moving, it would have been completely different.
Yeah, for us, it was completely different because when we started our program, we had our first products ready. The only thing that we didn't have is we didn't know how to put it on the market. We had zero information about retail and about HoReCa. And thanks to ProVeg, we actually had a very great marketing mentor. It was Thomas Starz from Coca-Cola. He was the CMO of Coca-Cola China, if I remember correctly. So he introduced us to the whole new world of marketing and sales. And what he did, he took us to Hamburg, and he made us to go to almost every single store, retail store in Hamburg, and he showed us what's a good selling point in terms of your brand design and stuff. And actually, after that, we redesigned our packaging because it wasn't. Kati, Antje, do you remember our first packaging?
Yeah,
white.
It was very beautiful. It was white packaging with our logo and our fluffy animals on the pack on front, but we haven't had an actual picture of our products. So when you were looking at the pack, you didn't know what's inside. And since it's Russia, it's an embryonic market, very, very small, and people are not familiar with plant-based meat category. Our mentor told us that people won't understand what's inside of it, so they won't buy it. And actually, we realized that it's super true, so we redesigned it, and now we're selling our plant-based meat in these packs, and we haven't had a redesign in 2 years, so it's still very very, how to say it in English?
Current.
Yes.
Current.
Yes. Yeah. So it was very helpful for us.
So Iván, we were not on market. We just started selling in April this year. So 2 years ago, we had a prototype that was an MVP, a little bit more than a benchtop, because we had small scale manufacturing trials done with that product, but we did not have a name, Antje. You remember? We've gone through like 4 names while we were doing the incubator.
Yeah, and our mentor stole your name.
Yeah, and I'm so happy because I don't like that name. I think our name is so much better now.
He didn't steal it, actually. I'm just kidding.
No, he just trademarked it. So that's what happened.
Did his homework.
Yeah. So we did not have a name. We did not have a brand. We did not have packaging. We did not have a strategy. No, we did not even have a geography. We did not know where we want to launch. So very far from being able to go to market. But we had a very strong vision, and we had an MVP. So we know what we want to do. And back then, I think even now, our area is still pretty niche. We don't see a lot of players who only focus on deli meats. We still have a huge play. We still see a big play going on burgers and frozen meats and patties and even mince and chicken. And then it seems like the new innovation jumped our category, and now everyone's focusing on seafood. And our poor category is still overlooked and undervalued, a little orphan child of the meat industry. But we're really passionate, and we actually, in our pipeline, we have 16 new products over the next 2 years that will be coming out every 2 months.
That's impressive.
Yeah, super cool. Slow start, but now it's like pumping it out.
Yeah, well, I think that's what it's expected.
Yeah. And
as Luke said earlier, it's good that we didn't do it faster, because it's good to learn at the beginning and learn from your own mistakes and hiccups while you're scaling, and then each next step is just better and easier.
Yeah, I guess that it depends on each entrepreneur and its own budget and the way that they can finance their own lifestyle, right? I don't know, Kati, if you had did you raise for staying in development for 2 years, or how did you manage, or did you have another source of income?
Yeah, that's true, actually, what you're saying, because as you can see, these are real actual gray hairs. So I'm a Gen X. I've already done a couple of exits from previous businesses. So myself and Chabo, we could afford to do the MVP stage just ourselves. So we funded ourselves. We paid for everything ourselves. And then we did a raise for commercialization, brand building, and scaling the production. So basically bringing the product to market, it was done by VC money. So we raised, yeah. But it's so true what you're saying, because we couldn't have done this working from someone else or not having any money at all. There was not at one time, but probably more, when we had to tap into our own resources and plug in holes here and there. So you're right about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the #1 problem, no? Running out of cash, usually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the question is a bit hard to answer. It is very individual for each of the startups. Like, I mean, at least from our perspective, from the incubator perspective, we've been taking on startups with an idea, to startups that have been already on the market for half a year and that are about to expand, because we have a very laser focus on the segment, we are more flexible in terms of like what stages we take in. But yeah, I think it's really different from each startup, and also depends on what kind of founding team you are, right? Usually others, maybe they start with an idea and a plan and do the whole business planning, and then, but if you have like a technical person on the team, you come up with the product or the prototype first, then this is the route that you go. So yeah, many ways that can lead to the market.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, well, what other questions? I think something that's super interesting usually is also if you had one piece of advice that you could give, or looking back, something that you would do differently, what would that be for fellow founders out there?
I think a really important thing is to do, I don't know how you call it in English, I think it's called vesting. So unfortunately, we started our program as 3 co-founders, and now it's only 2 of us left because we just had we just focused on different things, and we haven't signed anything on about like ending our relationship in the beginning of founding our startup. So it took us a lot of time to negotiate the terms of our 3rd co-founder leaving our startup. So yeah, guys, think about it. If you're founding a startup as a group, please do this vesting thing.
Good advice, definitely.
Yeah, very practical, very sad, but it's true. You need this.
For me, it's a little bit related. I think people underestimate their intuition and their gut feel. And because you're chartering in new territories, you don't know if you're wrong or not, so you don't listen to your own feelings sometimes. And my advice would be that if you have a bad feeling about something, whether it's a partnership or your own co-founder, don't drag it out. If you have a bad feeling about a new co-manufacturer or a procurement person or a new advisor, then just be very fast to say no, because if you go down the road, and we really, the longest we spent in a wrong relationship was 7 months, and I really regret it. And it could be a third-party service from your bank to your co-manufacturer or operations partner. Just make your decisions faster, even if it's painful. That's what I would say.
Thanks, Kati, for sharing. Yeah, similar experience. It's the 2 topics, like team and cash. I don't know, Luke or Iván.
Yeah, I think one thing that I've learned is you have to acknowledge your limitations and just accept that there's only so much you can know and do about a particular subject, and that you really have to turn to the experts, people that have done this before and that can lead the path and open up doors. So I think investing money in relationships, in partnerships, in contractors or freelancers that know what they're doing is a great way to produce quality work, but also to move quickly and reduce errors. The downside is it requires capital, costs. But if you have capital, then it's a good use of capital, because acquiring that experience would just take way too long. So it's been our experience that if we can get good partners in, have them show the way for us, then you get a quality outcome, and in the long term, probably at a lower cost. The next thing that I've learned is when you have people specializing, when you have focus, and this is a bit obvious, I know, but we tend to underestimate it, I think, as founders, because we're just accustomed to doing so many different things in a given day. But when you have focus, you have depth, and when you have depth, you have dominion over a particular subject matter. And that just allows you so many possibilities versus if you're just staying at a high level, trying to do a lot of different things. And I've seen that happen as soon as we've started to bring people on board who are focused on doing very specific things. And, consequently, the results come in a lot faster at a higher quality. So I think, just bear those things in mind as you're scaling, as you're getting funding. Be prepared to let go, be prepared to delegate, because if the people that you've hired are the right ones, they're only going to do a better job than you are.
Yeah. And if they don't, then be ready to say goodbye fast. Yeah.
That's a good advice.
It's hard. Yeah.
Iván, what's your
I think
bit of wisdom?
So team is a very complex thing. I think that at the end, you need to be able to learn a lot fast so that you can really choose the right team. And as everyone is mentioning, I think that fast decisions are very important. Hire slow and fire fast is always something that is important to keep on the back burner. But at the end, what we try to do at least is to find people that are mission aligned and be a bit patient with the skills. I think that I cannot teach mission or values to people. They either have that or they don't. But I can teach skills, and I have been able to train people in very different things, and I am a believer in the skill that people can develop over time. But if they don't believe in the cause, there's just, it's impossible to ask 110% from what they're doing if they're thinking of another priority.
Yeah, true words. Absolutely. Thank you, Iván.
I think I have one more that I've seen in many startups, and that is like, don't be a magpie. So magpies see shiny things and they start just going for it and drop the other one and go for the new shiny thing. And I think in the current industry, as it's opening up and it's so exciting, you need to be focused in your vision and in your strategy. And I think spend more time at the beginning to really nail down what you want to do. And then, don't jump at every exciting new opportunity, because they will be popping up every minute. And the more you can be focused on your own thing and get stronger and stronger in that own niche, I would say that is going to give you an advantage.
Kati, that's a great advice, but we in Greenwise, we're doing the exact opposite thing. We things like, we want to found an association, we want to do cell-based, we want to do plant-based, and we're grabbing opportunities, but we're not doing everything in-house. We're just making partnerships, and it's really working for now.
I'm talking about the products mostly. So it's the product vision. So I think what you're doing is great. And I think it's important that companies should give more. And I think companies are valued more that can provide more than just products. They provide education. They provide systemic change in a food system. They provide education. They provide content. They provide belonging. And I think that is important. And be a magpie in that, but don't be a magpie in a product. What I mean is that, oat milk is so hot, I'm doing oat milk. No, actually burgers, I'm doing burgers. But no, it's fish is the new stuff. And I see so many startups who I ask them about their business, and no, that's not my business anymore. And then next time it's again a different thing. I think those companies go much slower than ones that have a vision.
Yeah,
absolutely. Amazing advice from all of you. I couldn't have said it better. And with this, we also reached the end of this fireside chat. And it was so nice to have you all today. Such a nice discussion too. I hope you had fun as well. And yeah, to the audience who's still with us, I hope it was inspiring for you. If you have more questions to our amazing founders that are here with us, or for us, for the incubator, about the program, you can reach out to us on all social media at ProVeg Incubator or through the emails. And yeah, our application deadline is still open. It will be closing in July 18th. So if you want to be part of this amazing community, and yeah, we would be super happy to hear from you. And with this, I would say big thank you to all of you. It was lovely to have you, and thanks so much for giving us your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Antje. Thank you, everyone.
Hope to see you soon, guys, in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come to Moscow.